Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Cooper Villa podcast. I'm Scott Cooper, and we are here to talk about Aston Villa versus Wolverhampton Wanderers and the 11 minutes of pain that we saw. So it was coming up, all our whinging after this. So, yeah, we were back at Villa Park after the international break. We're all looking forward to a great game, guys. And I've got the boys here to talk about what turned out to be one of the most disappointing ends to a match I've ever seen. So, welcome to my nightmare. Troy Eccles from Brisbane, Queensland, and Noah and Tommy from Melbourne, Victoria. How you guys going? All right.
Yeah, getting there.
Look,
Still recovering, so
it took me a good day to get over that match. It was absolutely awful, and I guess I'll just start with you, Troy, because why not? You haven't been on for a week or so. What the fuck just happened?
Dean Smith happened. I'm gonna say it outright.
Okay. Yep.
And look, we were talking about this off air a little earlier, and you know, if we look at the quality of footballing brains that we have on the bench, and if alongside the substitutions which were pretty much like for like substitutions, and you can look at them in isolation and say, okay, Nakamba, that was a reasonable substitution. Young, debatable, and Buendia going off. Okay, like for life, but the whole strategy was wrong. And if there wasn't a discussion on the bench to say, should we go 4-4-2? Should we go 4-3-3, which was very successful for us last season, and give Wolves something to think about. If that discussion wasn't happening, something is fundamentally wrong with that bench. I think that conversation did happen, and somebody put the kibosh on it. And I would very much like to be a fly on the wall in Dean Smith's office after that, because I suspect that he was the one that put the kibosh on it, and I think that's a fundamental problem. But look, the game was, I think Wolves are a shit team. I think it was a crappy game, and Noah was saying a few minutes ago, the only reason that we looked good, it was because it was such a substandard game for 80 minutes, and we just stopped playing. And at this level, you cannot stop playing. In the championship, we would have got away with that. In the championship, we would have gone on to win 3 or 4-0. Yeah. This isn't the championship. You switch off in this league, this is what happens to you.
Yeah, and I think the more concerning thing that I think you were touching on is, like, Smith didn't really see it coming. Like, they scored the first goal. They're putting pressure on. They're for the first time in the game, they're actually looking dangerous, apart from that one shot earlier by Traore where he went on that big run. And it, go to 4-4-2, go to 4-3-3, or try and just stop the rot, stop the momentum that Wolves had. I think it's a bigger problem, but
how didn't Dean Smith see this coming? How didn't, as soon as Wolves got their first goal, I think every Villa fan in the world saw at least the draw coming.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable for a man who's paid an awful lot of money to see this coming, not to see this coming.
Well, no, we talked about this when we did our Dean Smith review, and we marked him very highly in many areas, but the one area was the in-game, day game tactics, and I think we've seen that again sort of fall to pieces a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 3 goals from set pieces as well. That's a very big letdown with Austin McPhee there, and he looked gutted. I mean, he looked devastated on the bench when that third goal went through. And I mean, as Troy said before, as soon as, especially when we got to 2-2, I'm like, we're going to lose this. I didn't have any faith that the way that time was going, I just didn't back us in, 1 to go on and win it, or 2 to hold on for the draw. We were just very poor. We switched off. And I think you said it as well, Scotty, that no one was angry when we conceded the first goal. No one was angry when we conceded the second goal, and no one was angry when we conceded the third goal. They just switched, like they weren't there. It was weird, very weird.
Yeah, when I watched it back, Tommy, I saw the likes of Mings and Emi Martinez, the sort of leaders in the team, and you'd expect them to, start yelling and, try and wake the team up and try and get us focused again. But that just didn't happen. And like Noah said, it seemed inevitable that we were gonna lose.
Inedible's the word.
It was inedible and inevitable.
But yes, no, the leadership group definitely needed to stand up. The funny thing for me is actually all their firepower was on the bench. I think was it Jimenez and Podence were brought on together.
Yeah.
So really, this was not a full strength force. And funny enough, Lange made the right sub, and he went through it. I think at 1-0 or even before 1-0, and just changed the complexion of the game. Smith subs. It's not the first time. It's probably not going to be the last time that we see him make the right sub, the wrong sub, make a sub at all, leave it too late, in this case, he made it too soon. I think Noah alluded to the fact that Buendia asked to be subbed. I understand he came back from international duty, but I'm pretty sure he sits on the bench for Argentina. And look, I'm just going to call it now, guys. All right, so I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. We have owners. We have owners with ambition, and they have no links to Villa whatsoever. Smith does, and I'm pretty sure a few of the players do, but they've been injected a lot of money into this team, and they allowed Smith to spend the Jack Grealish money. Yeah. And I don't know. Noah looks like he's just lost the plot.
Well, none of us would expect this. You've dropped a bomb on us with this Smith out. To be honest,
he was calling for Louise out a couple of weeks ago. So Ian Smith's going to go on to be manager of the month.
I was actually going to write on another piece of paper, take Louise with you, but I thought I would. So but funny enough, he took Louise off, and then we lost the game. I think we have to bring up the fact that the commentators cursed when they said that. When McGinn scored, they said when he scored, I think in the last 6 or 7 games, Villa have lost. I thought, 2-0, we're cruising, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And I actually went to bed at 2-2. That's how much hope I lost. And it was funny that when I come back and I see the Villa group chat and I see everyone's like, fuck this, going to bed. I'm like, yeah, we've conceded at 90 plus 5. And then what a crap goal to concede. Probably just capped off the night.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was so many errors in that last 10 minutes. I mean, if we go back to the start of the game, Twanzebe came in for Hawes. Buendia came in for Ramsey. And Twanzebe had an absolute shocking game. Shocker of a game, really.
Yeah, 3 centre-backs is good, but we give up the midfield and the front third of the pitch to flood the defence, really. Yeah, we're playing wing-backs, but Cash and Target were doing more defending than attacking at the end. And I don't know what happened with Cash, but obviously Ashley Young came on for him. I'm not sure to what extent that injury was. Last but not least, why would you change a winning lineup? We won last when we last played, so I don't understand why he changed it.
We lost. We lost.
Yeah, we won when I was last on the show, so I clearly forgot.
All right, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're not in charge of like the Smith out. But yeah, we did lose to Spurs, but it's I do understand. Like, we weren't playing that bad. It's not like it was terrible, and Hawes had done okay.
For those of you watching in black and white, Tommy is red.
But yeah, I don't think Twanzebe will be playing next week. I got a feeling it'll be Hawes back in because that. I mean, is that 10 minutes.
Is that our Hail Mary? Bring back Hawes. Who's actually
Hawes looked good. Hawes looked good against Man U, and I think he no one really looked good against Tottenham, did they? I mean, we kind of got rinsed that day, and I think Hawes probably deserved another game. I don't see why not. So
a fundamental problem is though when you play 5 at the back, that's half of your outfield team is at the back. That's where the ball is.
Yeah,
and we're scoring crappy goals as well. We're not playing through Ollie. We're not playing the Ollie strength again. Yeah. He's yet to get on the score sheet. He looks so frustrated in the front third.
This is what happened though when we bought, like, I think it was in the first in the championship, we bought all these strikers, but didn't play to their strengths at all.
No gelling. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the Ings goal was pretty well worked. I thought that was a really well-worked goal.
Yeah.
I mean, the McGinn one, he just twatted it in off a deflection, Everyone, I thought it was like a lovely goal, but took a big deflection. And, yeah, I think I agree with you, Tom. I just think we're playing to Watkins' strengths anymore. He looks frustrated.
Yeah.
If anything, he looks really frustrated. Obviously, I thought that Spurs goal would help him a lot, but obviously he's just finding it hard. I thought Cash played well.
Yeah, I thought Cash was good going forward, actually.
I thought he was a
Very
bit selfish, to be honest, in the front third. He probably
Yeah,
should have
I
given
mean,
it off once or twice.
yeah, I agree that like he's definitely, his decision making can be better. Like he's
Yeah.
he's not a natural attacker, you can tell, but he was higher up the field than
Yeah.
than Target on the other side, for example. Or
I think
or,
Cash being selfish is a fundamental problem of the coaching, the formation. The thing, okay, well, he's got to get in the box because we have two strikers.
right.
Drop one of them, put an extra creative midfielder. Now maybe Cash doesn't have to be so selfish because he has options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's that's why Buendia was brought in. But in this system, he's got to do a lot of defending. And I think when it comes to that sort of thing and the sort of the filling the gaps and, the energy, Ramsey's far better. It's just, but then Buendia sets up Ings. We could be 3-0 up at that point if Ings puts that in. And that's why he's brought in. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword as far as that concerned. But I've got a stat here, Tommy, to go to you with what sort of going on what you were talking about, that we're not actually playing that well when we've got the ball. And XG, our expected goals this season from open play, not if you take the set pieces out of it, we've got a 4.9 expected goals with 7 goals scored. So we're sort of batting above our average, and only Norwich and Burnley have a worse XG than us from open play this season.
So we're third last
In terms of XG from open play, yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
I
probably
mean, that's not good.
I was
No.
going to say, yeah. And funny thing is, they, Norwich, I think they picked up their second clean sheet as well in back-to-back fixtures. So all these crappy teams, they're starting to pick up points. And, we're 2 losses in a row. And I was saying earlier, had we have won, this would be sitting 7th. Not clear, but that's the momentum we want to take into the Arsenal game.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that's where most of our fans expected us to be, in that sort of 7th to 10th position, fighting for possibly a European spot. And we got to beat Wolves at home if you want one of those positions.
Yeah,
really.
These are the games, and it's from game week 1. If you're not winning these, come into season, we missed out on Europe by 3 or 6 points, whatever it is. These are the games we should be winning, and Smith knows that as well.
Do you think these are similar games that we dropped last year though as well?
100%.
These are very similar games we dropped last year.
We literally we beat United at Old Trafford 2-3 weeks ago, whenever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think last year though we sort of had a bit more about us in not only in defense but
X factor. Yeah.
Yeah. And we played some terrible stuff at times, but I don't remember us ever throwing away a lead like that, or
no,
the one like that, not like that, but Burnley away, I think we're up 2-1 and cruising in that game, and we lost 3-2. That's the one that sticks out for me. But the only loss that I think that I can remember up 2-0 in the Premier League, especially, was against Leicester all those years ago. And then I had honestly just the first game that came to mind was
Sherwood.
Yeah, Sherwood, and Grealish, Carlos Hill. I thought we're cruising here, and then lost that 3-2 as well. So.
Well, I mean, it's just I think it was just the manner of, like, as soon as we conceded the goal, it looked like they could score any point, anyone on the field. We sat back, we looked scared. Our clearances were coming off the shins, and Ollie Watkins, for the first goal that they scored, he shinned it straight to one of their players, Mings as well. It was I mean, these guys are England internationals, like. Why is it once they get on a Villa shirt and we get in a position, we just seem to shit our pants? Troy, is there anything you can see? Like, is it a player thing? Is it a coaching thing? Is it a confidence thing?
Oh, it's all three. It's certainly a player thing. At the end of the day, the management team should be able to put 11 of those players plus whoever's on the bench on the pitch at 2-0 up at home with 10, 12 minutes to go and see the game out. That's nobody's disputing that. So that's squarely on the players. But we said a few podcasts ago that with the players we've got, the new midfield, do they play left? Do they play right? Do they play central? How are we going to play our 2 strikers together? And it was almost like Dean Smith had bought 2 jigsaw puzzles and mixed them all up. And how's he going to get this to work? And amazingly, he did.
Yep.
This week, he got it all wrong. He put all the wrong pieces on at the wrong time, and he made a mess. The problem is he's going to do it again. He's going to get it right again, and all's going to be forgiven. Maybe not by Tommy, but all's going to be forgiven. But he's going to mess it up again, because the two striker thing's got to finish. Now, it's not like they're playing together. It's not this fantastic, memorable strike partnership that people are going to remember in 10, 20 seasons time.
Agreed.
It's not. They don't even know each other's on the pitch.
Yeah, it does seem crazy the amount of times they never pass to each other.
Yeah.
I can't remember one time that one of them set the other one up for a chance. Just a chance,
But the thing is, they're both focal point strikers. In other words, I need to be the center of attention.
Yes.
Not saying they wouldn't come. This is not an Agbonlahor and Carew partnership.
No.
These are two of the same forwards. Like, you need to play through them. Where it's a 4-5-1, whatever it is, 5-4-1. It needs to be just one. It's not working with two. And Smith needs to put his hand up and say, hey, it's not working. Ship one out, do whatever you got to do. Put one on the bench. Bring on Archer. I mean, like, what happened to the young kids we're seeing? Like, Bidace was like launching hat tricks in the under 21. Archer scoring every game. Just mix it up. Like, do change something with in a row.
When you think about the amount of wingers we've got that are talented players and goal threats, the fact that we don't play with wingers, it does seem like either Smith didn't plan this out properly. This isn't what he originally intended on doing, or that he's just wasted money on guys that aren't going to get game time.
Well, I mean, he came from Brentford, and he was more about developing, nurturing players. Now he's been given this war chest. Well, you don't really need to develop players. I mean, to be honest, we didn't bring in Ings. We'd be in trouble for these. Let's be real. The guy's kind of kept us up, and that's what we signed him for. It's a goal machine. As much as I love Ollie, we maybe go with a 4-3-3 and put Ollie out wide. Like, something's got to change. This 5 in the back line, that's not going to win games, Scott. Like I said, from games in open play, we're third last.
Yeah.
That's probably starting to reflect why we're starting to slip down the table. Had we have won, that's five positions high, we would have been on the ladder for now.
Yeah, I also think like our wing backs are really fullbacks that are playing as wing backs. That's also a massive issue.
Agreed.
They're not clever enough or have the quality enough to sort of create enough chances or know when to push and when to drop back. And that's a very very, very sort of specialized position.
I disagree with that a little bit. I think they're going forward at the right time. They're coming back at the right time. Target is quality going forward is beyond awful, and this was his best game, I think, of the season so far. And
I agree with that.
His tackling was immense. But
he's
got to back it up. He's got to back it up.
Yeah, I said with I think it was the Spurs game that I think it got to maybe 2/3 of the way through the first half. I started counting how many times we could hold the ball for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think I got to maybe 10 minutes to go in the second half before we did it.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. And again, I think that's a fundamental problem when half of your team is in the back line. They're not creative players. They have limited creative players. And is it a coaching thing that says, we got to get the ball in the box now? You got 5 seconds to get the ball in the box.
Yeah.
And that's our game plan. That's ridiculous. Slow the thing down. It is a coaching problem. The same thing happened against Wolves. It was like we fought like hell to get the ball. And then once we got, I don't want it. Let's give it back to them and fight again. That to me is a coaching problem, that our players are getting the ball and they're absolutely shitting themselves because we have no fundamental game plan. What is our style of play? Because I'll be fucking
yeah. And not to be fickle or anything, but are we missing Jack? Do we have that one player? Just let him get the ball, let him do something.
Yeah.
Like, who do we like? All right, we have this plethora of great players we signed, but who's the go-to player here? Who do we go to? I know we have Buendia now, we have Bailey, we have Ings, we got, we can put it through to Ollie. Like, who's the go-to player in these situations when we need the ball, when we need to find that equalizer, find that winner, kill off the game? Again, we're all saying different things.
We don't have one. We don't have one.
No. That's what Jack really offered. I think we're really starting to miss that now, and he's starting to find his groove.
I mean, we've got guys like Ings who have been a great striker in the Premier League for many years, but he's new to the team. He hasn't really fitted in completely yet. I mean, he scored a couple of goals and he's done all right, but he's not
a poacher though. He's just a poacher. He's clinical and he feeds off scraps. So he's a typical small man forward. That's what his job is. But who's our creator? Who's going to find him?
Exactly.
Who's going to draw the free kick in a dangerous spot? Who's going to
thought it'd
score
be Emmy.
a ripper goal?
Who's going to know when to?
Martinez,
who's going to know when to
between the
slow
sticks.
down, slow the tempo down? You know.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
We're up 2-0 with 11 to go, whatever it was. I said, mate, we're not even trying to slow the play down.
Yeah.
We're inviting them forward. Like we just went to reset mode. We just started hanging back.
Yeah.
I don't understand the sum. Why it's got to come back to that.
Well, I mean, when you're playing 4-3-3, you've got those two guys wide in the front three, and that can give you a bit more ability to hold the ball for a bit longer because, you know, you can either go long to the center forward and try and win a flick on, or if one of the two wingers can get free, you can at least get the ball out on the touchline and hold it there. And I think, you know, with Leon Bailey hopefully coming back next week, we can use him in that sort of role as a jack role, and you know he can be the dribbler, he can be the guy that can hold on the ball, he can be the go-to guy. But yeah, he's got to stay fit.
How important is the January transfer window as well? I think like there is some work is needed.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because you know maybe we've signed who we thought was the right player and they haven't. For me, Buendia hasn't delivered. Yeah, right. He had a decent game yesterday. He got some both, but you know, when we really needed someone like to step up in the dying minutes, he's calling for a sub. I understand he came back from international duty, but he literally just kept Messi's shoes warm. Let's be real.
I don't even think he went, did he? I don't even think he went with the squad.
Well, he called for a sub. I said, well, you know, if you're not picked to play a full 90, don't start. Like,
yeah, he did. I don't think he got picked.
No, but I think Sanson would have been the perfect sub.
I heard that as well. I could like that. I've been pushing for him, and he's really impressed when he played against Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea had an almost full strength team, just bar Lukaku.
Yeah.
I said he's really impressed, and he's a ball winner. He can create. He's got X factor about him. He can score a screamer from outside. I'm not saying he's the perfect fit, but heck, give him a chance.
And in that sort of role, you know, if you could put him in the McGinn role, let's say, and push him
further up,
exactly.
McGinn needs to play further. He can score. He's both feet. Like we need that in the front third.
He's probably that guy that we're talking about that has a bit of character and a bit of personality and can sort of drive the team like forward. You know,
he's thriving for Scotland because he's playing his naturalised position behind the forward. That's where he needs to play, and we play him in CDM. All right, he's got a massive engine. I'd rather that engine in the front third, and he's chasing down the keeper or chasing down the centre back, contributing. He can pick out a pass. Trust me, Buendia, there's all these hype, but I reckon McGinn's the man to spot it.
Is Sanson? Sorry, Tom. Is Sanson?
He's back. He's fit.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, I mean, is this a microcosm of Dean Smith's thinking? Okay, I can put on a player who is a little bit combative. We've seen that, but who can drive us forward?
Yeah.
Or
Sanson and Louise would be really good together.
I think so as well. But Dean Smith's thinking, you know what? Let's just use Marv, block up the midfield. Essentially, it's Gareth Southgateism.
He says block up the midfield. He literally did a like for like sub when Louise was doing the job. That was his game.
Louise was fine.
You're breaking up the play where you know I think Marv would be more accustomed to when we play the big six.
Yeah. But fundamentally, the game shifted back 25 to 30 yards in Villa's half.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Had Sanson been on the pitch, it probably would have been 20 yards in the other direction, and I think game over.
Yeah. Well, the question is, Noah's like how much of that falls back on Smith, and how much of that falls back on the players. The fact that you know we couldn't control the flow, we couldn't stop the flow.
I think it's got to be both. It has to be both. I mean, as we spoke about before, no one showed leadership on that field when we conceded the goals. But neither did any of the manager. Like no one, I didn't hear Smith barking orders after the goals either. Normally you can hear him all game.
No
barking
frustration,
orders.
no passion,
there was nothing.
Frustrated, swear, like let something out.
But yeah, nothing was really said. It was kind of bizarre. But I guess the best thing for me as a fan from especially Melbourne, you get to go to bed at 3:30 at AM. The game's over. You get to go to sleep and try to forget about it. But you know, it's a bit stiff.
Troy
since then.
Troy was talking about this before the podcast, saying that the best thing about being in Australia is we don't have to go down the shop and see all the Wolves fans after a result like that, and we can all kind of hide in our little groove here. But Yep, getting up, well, especially for you boys on the eastern states, getting up at, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, whenever the game kicked off for you guys. So it's 1 a.m., and seeing something like that is hugely disappointing. But Troy, I'm going to go to you and just say, so can we put this down as a freak result? Is it best for the players now, Steve Smith, to say, all right, it's over, we've lost, let's move on to the next game, or is there more there to worry about?
No, I think we'll find out for sure in a few weeks, obviously, but I think there's more to worry about. And the fact that we all saw our captain get a yellow card for wasting time.
Yeah, that was just stupid.
Yeah. In the 60th minute or something ridiculous like that. It was like, I don't think we were 2-0 up at the time.
Yeah. Mentally, that's a game changer, right? They're shitting themselves.
Yeah.
Why? I've never seen anything like that. And I thought Mings was galactically poor for doing that. Mentally, that destroyed us. And I think it was a message to all our players. Look, I don't want to be here. Really, we're up. Yeah. Let's just park the bus and see what happens. And Mings is I'll go as far as saying it. I think off the pitch, he's the most intelligent player we've ever had. Yep. So that message is coming from somewhere. I do think we've got a problem on the bench. Now, as far as the owners go, I don't think for a moment that they've looked at the game and thought, oh, well, let's see what happens next week. I think they're smart enough on a sports level, not just a business level. I think they're smart enough on a sports level to think that should never have happened.
We've got the cattle. That's the thing. They're saying,
he was there. He was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Wes was there.
Yeah.
So that's not a good look to see him witness that on one of the games he comes over from the States to watch.
No, and I think even if he's sort of thinking, okay, maybe is this a usual thing in English football? I'm not sure. Let's go and hit the internet. He would have seen in the space of 15 minutes the fans' reaction to this.
Yeah.
And I think if I was Wes, I would have been sitting down and saying, I want a report from the manager. I want a report from the first team coach. I want a report from everybody as to what happened here, because this is proper wheels falling off and rolling away. And I want to know why. Wheels come off in football. It happens. This was a big problem, and I'd want to know why.
I want to go back to what Scott was saying. Do we just put this aside? Hold on. We came off a Spurs thrashing, like an embarrassment, and that scoreline did us justice. When we lost the Spurs, I said we went to a depleted Spurs team who were low on confidence, taking a few losses this season. We gave them their confidence back, and then we come and do this week. All right, international break probably didn't help, but nonetheless, we've got to be protecting home turf, especially at 2-0 up. So, just spitballing. I mean, I've got potential lineup. What do you think of this? I'd go like Cash, Mings, Concert, or throw a horse in for Mings if you want. You'll love him. Target, Luis Sanson. So it'll be a 4-2-3-1. So Luis Sanson. Then I'd go Bailey, McGinn, Traore. Because he came off like 6 goals, 6 assists. So he can create, he can score. Yeah. And I'd probably just say Ollie or Ings. It's got to be one up top. We've got to mix it up. And I understand one of them will be frustrated, but you know what? That's why the other one was brought in. It's, hey, you're not performing. And unfortunately, I'd probably put Ings instead of Ollie. I'm only putting Ollie because he's our fanboy and we love him.
I like it, and I'd go for Ings.
I'd put Ings, say, Ollie, hold on, you want to score. You make sure when you come off the bench, you score, you keep your spot. Yeah. Simple. Because, I mean, pre-season as well, everyone's saying, oh, they're going to gel, and, we're predicting 30 to 35 goals. Ings and Ollie, let's be honest, if we get 20 to 25 this season, I think we'd be pretty happy. Ings is on, 4-5? How many's Ollie on?
Ollie's on 1 and Ings on 3, I think.
Yeah. And I think 4. Ings was on 3 or 4 already.
He only scored against...
No, he got 2, didn't he, in one game?
I think so.
No, he scored against Newcastle, scored against Watford.
And Watford.
Bicycle Penn. And this was his 3rd. So 4 goals. Do you know what I mean? I said, how many games are we in already? We'll predict, we thought they'd be on 10 by now. Like Scott said, we're 3rd last in goals. My play. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how we go against Arsenal, because that's going to be another tough game. And with Smith, will he change it? He's going to have to do something, right? You'd think that he couldn't just go in with the same 11 and the same kind of attitude like we did for this game, because, like you said, it worked for a few games. We were excellent against Chelsea. We were excellent against Man United. And then, the last 2 games, it's kind of just faded away a bit. And then, he drops Ramsey, he drops Hawes. he changes it up a bit, but keeps the same formation. And again, that link up's not there. The two up front, it doesn't seem to be working. And I would agree with you. I would go to a 4-2-3-1. I'd probably play Ollie instead of Ings myself, just because you get that work rate as well.
But then again, if he's got three players behind him, balls will be coming into the box.
Yeah.
We'll find those runs. And Ings's runs are much more efficient than Ollie's. Ollie's been an offside machine this year for some reason.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a case that other teams have figured us out. I think it's a case of we haven't figured ourselves out.
We haven't figured it out. It's almost like there's too many of the same jigsaw pieces. They're not going to go together.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Especially in the attacking third. It's like we signed all these attackers. Geez, play them. We signed all these attackers. We're playing five in the back.
Yeah.
I read an interesting piece it was a week or two ago that when Leicester won the title, the Tinker Man essentially was a figurehead of a manager. He wasn't doing an awful lot. It was all down to Craig Shakespeare. He's been credited with basically being the brains of it. So we've got some smart cookies. I would trust Shakespeare over Dean Smith, and hopefully Dean Smith will have the balls to say, okay, he's in a position now where if he thinks, you know what, we've got a couple of fantastic results using this system, we've got a couple of bad results. So he's going to be thinking, are the fans going to think it's a knee-jerk reaction if I change this? So does he have the balls to change it? I think he needs to have the balls to change it and say, do you know what, it was an experiment, it worked a couple of times, give it up, try something new.
As a fan, I couldn't give a shit if he played Archer and bench both Ollie and Ings. If we win 2-0, 3-1, heck, even 2-1, 1-0, I'll take that. I'll support that same team the next week. Mix it up,
Well, I think that he's one of his strengths this year has been he has been trying a few more things. Like, I think we've seen a bit more sort of flexibility with the formation, with the subs and that sort of thing. I mean, this week wasn't a good example, of course, but he seems to be delegating a bit more and that sort of thing to the other coaches. Hopefully he is listening to the likes of Shakespeare and the others, because like you said, that I don't think even he would admit he's, the greatest tactician in the league. But we need something right now, because these next few weeks are going to be huge for him, especially this season is his big test. And I think, he's been on a bit of a roller coaster. He's done well. He's kept us in the league, got us promoted, kept us in the league, got us a good finish last year. But now we've lost our best player, and it's all on him now, really. And that's a different kind of pressure.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
And then how many times can we forgive him though? Because it's the same mistake. That's the thing. It's either the wrong subs, wrong lineup. He's not changing it up. He's very monolithic. He's not going to adapt. In 2-3 seasons when we're, maybe finishing 10th to 15th, because it just keeps getting worse. It's the same problem. Almost like a Paul Lambert. But don't worry, Dean Smith got us promoted. Oh, don't worry, Dean Smith's a Villa fan.
I just feel
it's not a cattle problem. It's not a cattle problem, 100%. I just think the best squads we've had in history.
I think it would be up there, but I think, let's say Ramsey comes on, right? Scores, makes it 3-0. We're all going, oh, what a masterclass by Smith. What a sub. Brought him on at the right time. And then, he might have come on and we didn't have the best of the game. We're saying it's a shocking sub. Well,
hold on. If it's simple maths, how many times has it been right and wrong? The wrong is a lot higher.
I know. That's true.
Even if it's 50-50, hey, we can let him off, somewhat.
Yeah.
But
and it's not like for 80 minutes that we were destroying them and we were cruising. It was a bit ugly. It was a bit ugly. And I think, if, as I said at the start of this, if the conversation wasn't had about a tactical change, then there's something fundamentally wrong. If it was, and Dean Smith didn't listen to that,
that's a problem.
It is a big problem, and I think the owners will sort of look at that, and it's a case of, you know what, if we win that game 2-0 or 2-1, it puts us closer to Europe. As you said, he's a genius, absolutely fantastic. What's happened now though is where we would have been. We're now 3, maybe 4 weeks behind that.
Agreed.
So he's got 3 or 4 weeks. He's got to have 3 or 4 weeks of perfect games to get himself back. One of those he fucks up and he falls that hurdle. Then the owner's going to start looking very, very carefully at things. And to me, I'd be looking at Dean Smith. Let's go back to he who must not be mentioned, Martin O'Neill.
Right.
He was everything he was the guy that decided where the away fans were sitting. He was deciding what players were going to be bought, what tactics were going to be played, how much these players were being paid. He did everything. And we're still feeling the negative effects of that today. Maybe football needs to fundamentally change to the way Leicester have it. Say, okay, well, Dean Smith, you pick your director of football, you pick this guy, you put in your recommendation, you say how you want to play. But now we've got to have a situation where the first team coaches, maybe we have a master tactician that says to Dean Smith, this isn't working for these reasons. You need to change this and you need to do this now. Really take him out of the picture. As a man manager, as a football manager, he may be fine. When it comes to game day, I think he's struggling.
Well, I'm just looking at our next fixtures, and we've got Arsenal on Friday night, and then we've got West Ham at home, Southampton away, Brighton at home, Palace away.
These 5 games are easy, Scott. It's like, where's the win going to come from?
Well, you're saying they're easy, are they?
No, I'm saying, where's the win going to come from? Brighton have been playing well.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I'm not saying they're easy. I'm just saying that, but they are crucial, and that's going to be the difference between us having a good season or having a bad season, in a way.
I agree. And that's the sad thing. It's gone from having a good season and a great season, having a good season or a mediocre season, maybe even a bad season now.
Yeah.
So it's funny that the expectations change.
Had this run-up come up and this conversation come up after the Man United win, we'd be thinking, there's 12 easy points for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We were all predicting us to beat Spurs.
Man, you got embarrassed by Leicester, so I can imagine how their YouTube channels are going.
Yeah, that was the only good thing from the weekend, is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is getting all the headlines, and
I got tagged in it. I got tagged in a few things like what happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't even talk.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me too. But you look at Brentford, right? I watched their game after the
I was sleeping. Sleeping when that game was on.
And you can tell with them, they've got a plan, they've got a system, they've got the pieces in there that they need. Their coach, knows what he's doing. He's not scared to make a risk. He's not scared to attack. They played with 2 up front. Very similar system to us, in fact.
It could be a bit of a championship high. I remember when Hull City came up and they were sitting 4th mid-season, then following season they got relegated. So
yeah.
But the funny thing is, that's the difference to Brentford, though. I'd say is everyone keeps thinking, the bubble's going to pop, the bubble's going to pop, the bubble's going to pop. I wouldn't be surprised if I see them finish in the 10. They keep going at this rate, and they've got so much belief. And coach seems like a really down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
He seems very cool, calm and collective, young, fresh with ideas.
And he was Dean Smith's number 2.
Yeah, protege. Yeah. So that's the funny thing.
I'm not seeing that same thing from Smith at the moment for us.
Is maybe Villa too big of a job, what people said in the beginning? With Brentford, he was signing gems and turning them into talent. He had Malpay, I think. He had Ollie.
Yeah.
Like, he'd assembled a pretty good team from a small budget. But now that he's got a bigger budget, you don't really need to go and find gems, Dean Smith, when you've got 100 million extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about relegation for a minute? Who do you think will get relegated, and who do you want to get relegated?
Norwich, Watford, and Burnley, I think, for me.
Oh, you don't think Newcastle?
No, I think they'll stay up.
You don't think Villa, if we keep sticking with Smith?
No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine, mate.
Oh my God, you're going to get so much hatred, Tommy.
Deserved, though, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Oh, I can't wait.
We're going to be asking for Tommy out.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered it pretty well. It was an absolutely horrible game. There's many questions to be asked, and I hope we see some sort of reaction against Arsenal on Friday night, because it's going to be extremely difficult. Thanks for all getting onto your obviously the questions last week. Do you remember what the question was last week, Noah?
Was it favorite Dean Smith moment? I don't even remember. I think we just kind of touched on that.
Yes, that's
I don't watch.
Well, the question this week is going to be, what's your most crushing Premier League defeat?
And I
think it's very it's
we can't reference the weekend, obviously.
Nah.
I think the weekend will be up there. Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm sure there's a few others that you can think of that were extremely hard to take. Personally, for me, I remember the first time we played Birmingham City in the Premier League. I got up at 3 a.m. to watch that game on a Monday night, and Enkelman letting the ball under his foot At
I
St
think maybe
Andrews, that
the-
was pretty bad.
I reckon the choking against Leicester, which actually spurred them on to go win the league.
That's what I said before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
So
And spurred us to go in the other direction.
yeah, I was
It
going
did.
to say. No,
Mine's
Yep.
a little bit different, I think. I'm not sure. Like one that I remember getting up to watch, I think it was 8-0. Chelsea absolutely thumped us. And that one
Yep.
just hurt every goal. And, you know, I just thought, geez, like,
I'm surprised you stayed up to see all 8, Noah.
no, I did. I mean, I didn't go to bed at the 70th minute, mate. Whatever it was.
Yes, I remember getting tagged in a lot of posts after that one. That was, oh, you hate to see it, you know. All this
Yeah.
sort of,
Yeah.
Eight
It's
to be-
interesting,
Eight to be a Villa fan.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting for anybody that is watching this who is overseas, and you know, we're talking about going to sleep straight after the game, and they're thinking, what the hell?
Yeah.
Roll back 20 years before broadband internet, well, before any form of internet really, and to find out the result, you'd have to wait a couple of days until the sports pages had come out to find out whether we won, lost, or drew. You'd
Well, that's
never
not-
get to see a game. It was ridiculous. And now streaming makes life at least a little easier, which is fantastic.
Yeah, when I first got into watching the Villa, we had a Monday night show, English soccer.
Yeah.
You know, go in for an hour with just highlights and goals, and that was it.
Yeah. And
That's
if you
no-
didn't score a goal, you'd be on for about 12 seconds.
Yeah. So times are changing, but hopefully our results will be changing. After a couple of losses, we're going to really need something against Arsenal. Thanks for all watching again. It's been another good one. And please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Noah's got his new shirt here. He wants to thank his.
Oh, yeah. I'll go grab it. I'll go
Yeah,
grab it.
yeah.
Why not chuck it on? Yeah. So, number one fan, just about. Paul Cox chucked this beauty my way.
Look at that.
Match worn. I believe it's a 99 2000 shirt
Mm.
from Delaney. So he said, do you want me to try to get on the podcast for people to see it? So, yeah, thank you for this beauty. So, yeah.
And thanks again, Cox. He's always commenting and liking the videos. He's our number one fan. So,
We love Cox.
Coxie, love the Cox.
That's
We
So
want
on,
more Cox.
on that note, we'll say goodbye up the Villa, and we'll see you all next week. All right, see you lads. Take it
Yeah.
easy.
Up the Cox.